Very good. You guys are warming my heart. You are soon going to hear from the governor, but you're going to hear from a few other very important people. And I know you've been so patient, and this is just amazing. I'm very excited for us. Give yourself a round of applause. I know you're all like me. Like, I pretty much freak about this every day until November 5th. So that's why we're going to work. We're going to work so hard from now until then. That's right. We're going to make calls. We're going to knock on doors. We're going to register people to vote. We're going to make a plan to get people to the polls. We're going to take this action because this year, North Carolina is in play, and you can make it happen. We have a chance to turn North Carolina blue and send Kamala Harris to the White House as the president. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Prather. And like all of you, I am ready to flip North Carolina blue and send President Harris, Vice President Harris, and Governor Walz to the White House. I'm a teacher, a community leader, and a public servant. And I'm running for re-election to the North Carolina State House because I believe we need leaders who will support public schools, protect our freedoms, and ensure everyone has the opportunity to thrive in our great state. Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are exactly those kinds of leaders. They're fighting for a new way forward that strengthens public education as a pathway to the middle class, restores and protects women's reproductive freedoms, and lowers costs for working families. And as a fellow former social studies teacher, I admire Governor Walz, who also taught our future generations and whose students now get to see him run for vice president. The same cannot be said for Donald Trump and his extreme Project 2025 agenda, which would give him unchecked power to weaken the middle class, ban abortion nationwide, and restrict access to birth control, and raise costs on North Carolina families by nearly $4,000 a year, while cutting taxes for billionaires and big corporations. I'm with you. Trump's MAGA allies, like Mark Robinson here in North Carolina, they share his agenda, and together they are planning to pass extreme abortion bans, further gut funding for public schools, and rip away our health care. But this year, voters have another choice. Voters have a choice in my race and in races up and down the ballot. I am proud to say that North Carolina Democrats are running phenomenal candidates all across the state, contesting 168 out of 170 legislative races. We are all running because we love North Carolina. And we believe that each of us have something to offer this great state that can help make it a better place for families to call home. But to do that, we need leaders from Raleigh to Washington who will support us on this journey. We need leaders who will defend our democracy and protect affordable health care. We need leaders who will fight to restore North Carolinians' reproductive freedom and make sure that our kids have more rights, not less. We need leaders like Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, who will champion these issues in Washington and allow us to support you down here in North Carolina. To do that, we've got to put the work in, y'all, from now until Election Day. We have to make phone calls. We have to knock on doors. We have to talk to our neighbors, especially in this must-hold seat here in Buncombe County. We need to make sure that folks know how important every single race on the ballot is, so that when we wake up on November 6th, we can be proud to have broken the supermajority in North Carolina by electing lawmakers that are fighting for you, the people of North Carolina. Thank you.
Please welcome former State Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Orr, and for nearly 18 years I served as an Associate Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court and as a judge on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I was elected 4 times statewide, this probably isn't an applause line, as a Republican nominee for those offices. But today, I am here as a proud North Carolinian and a concerned American asking my fellow citizens to support Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. From growing up in Hendersonville to practicing law here in Asheville to maintaining my voting residence in Yancey County for the past 30 years, I have always called Western North Carolina home. And just like Governor Walz, I am also a veteran. I was proud to serve my country in the United States Army. And I appreciate and admire Governor Walz's long and distinguished service in the National Guard. I am proud that he is again fighting for our country and for our freedoms as the Democratic nominee for Vice President. I'm here today because the party that I was a part of for nearly 5 decades, in fact, I have to admit, I was the Republican chair here in Buncombe County back in the 1980s. That party is not a party that I recognize anymore. Today, it is no longer the party of those who care about protecting our freedoms or about lowering costs for working and middle-class North Carolinians or about fighting for our democracy. It is the party of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Mark Robinson and their extreme Project 2025 agenda designed to rip away our fundamental freedoms, strangle our economy, and undermine the very foundations of our democracy. Donald Trump has made it clear he doesn't care about the support of the hundreds of thousands of Republicans who, in this past year's primary, voted against him. If you do not pledge total loyalty to Donald Trump, you are not welcome in the Trump party. On the other hand, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz have reached across the aisle and are working to gain the support of Republicans, moderates, and independents who cannot support Donald Trump and his MAGA ally, Mark Robinson, and their extreme agenda. According to leading economists, the Trump-Vance-Robinson Project 2025 agenda will increase taxes on North Carolina families by almost $4,000 per family, cost our state thousands of jobs, reignite inflation, and drive our country into a recession by the middle of next year. Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are going to stand up for us. They don't have concepts of a plan to help Americans. The Harris-Walz team has real plans to lower taxes for our neighbors, to increase affordable housing, support entrepreneurs and new small business owners by increasing their tax deduction for startup expenses tenfold to $50,000. These plans will help North Carolinians not just get by, but get ahead. With our growing Republicans for Harris coalition, we're working to beat Trump, Vance, and Robinson at the ballot box. National leaders like former Vice President Dick Cheney, former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, numerous former Trump administration officials, and many others like me are reaching out across this state and nation to like-minded voters to join us in proudly supporting Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. And I would add that includes those Democrats up and down the ballot who are standing firm against the extremism of Donald Trump. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Well, thank you, and thank you for all you do, and you can count me in.
Vice Mayor of Asheville, Sandra Kilgore.
Hello, Asheville. My name is Sandra Kilgore, and I am proud to serve as Vice President of Asheville, North Carolina. The stakes in this election could not be higher. You know, we all remember Trump's first presidency, yeah? When he opened the door to extreme abortion ban across the country, including here in North Carolina. He rigged the economy against small businesses and slashed the tax rate for giant corporations and billionaires. Remember that? Remember that? Yes, his Project 2025 agenda, it's a comprehensive plan created by those closest to him. It includes plans that raise the cost of middle class and working families by nearly $4,000 a year. It cuts Social Security and Medicare, banned abortion nationwide, and allowed Trump to rig the economy for himself and his ultra-wealthy friends. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you know, a second Trump term will be devastating for Western North Carolina. It's just devastating. But you know what? We're not going back. That's exactly right. We are not going back. No, not going back. Not going back. Not going back. And Vice President Kamala Harris offers a new way forward for our country. She will be a president for all Americans, and she will turn the page once and for all on the darkness and division of Donald Trump. And Governor Walz and Vice President Harris are fighting to ensure that North Carolinians have a chance to not only get by, but get ahead. You know, from her days as a prosecutor to her work as vice president, Kamala Harris has defended the rights of American people by standing up to predators, scammers, and powerful interests. And Governor Walz served our country in the Army National Guard and served his community in the classroom. And he made Minnesota the first state to pass a law codifying abortion rights after the Supreme Court overturned Roe. And plus, he cut taxes in every one of his budgets as governor of Minnesota. And when we elect them in November, and we will, they will build up the middle class. They will invest in small businesses and entrepreneurs, and they will reduce North Carolinians' grocery, health care, and housing costs. And they will ensure that big corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. Yeah. But, you know, it's on all of us to make this happen. It's on all of us, all of us. We must speak to our neighbors and organize our communities, emphasizing the strength and the power of their vote. Their political affiliation or religious beliefs or race or ideology does not matter. When you reach out across the aisles, it does not matter. Because you know what? I genuinely believe that people care about this country's future. And they want to discuss the issues. They want to talk about it. You know? And so, in fact, just the other day, a neighbor approached me and said, Sandra, what are we going to do if Trump gets elected? You know, she was very concerned. But then she mentioned she is a Republican, and she said, I will not vote for him. You know, I have faith in the people. I trust that they are capable of distinguishing right from wrong, and they will vote according to their conscience. And ladies and gentlemen, early voting starts October 17th. And I would encourage everyone to participate and bring someone with you to the polls to support the only qualified candidates in the election. Vice President Harris and Governor Walz will serve us well, and we have got to serve them well by making sure we get them in November. That's right, because we are not going back. We are not going back. Not going back. Not going back. No. No way. Not going back. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Meredith. I am an organizer in Asheville for the North Carolina Coordinated Campaign, and it is so exciting to see so many here from across the state today to welcome Governor Tim Walz to Asheville. That includes so many of our amazing volunteers. Your hard work and passion are the backbone of this campaign, and we are so excited to have you on board and are grateful for your work. This election will be close, and every single vote will count. There are just 49 days until Election Day on November 5th, and it's up to all of us to put in the work to win. There is too much at stake in this election to sit this one out. Donald Trump, Mark Robinson, and their Project 2025 agenda threaten our reproductive freedom, our healthcare access, and our very democracy. It is on us to stand up and make our voices heard. But each and every one of you has the power to make a difference. We cannot do it without your help. We need to knock on doors, make phone calls, and mobilize our friends, neighbors, and family members, both online and offline. And that means we need people like you to get involved. If we take all of the energy in this room today and put it towards flipping North Carolina blue in November, then we can deliver for Vice President Harris and Governor Walz in November. Today is National Voter Registration Day, and an important reminder to talk to our friends and neighbors to make sure the folks in our community know how, where, and when to vote. If you or someone you know is not registered to vote, please visit kamalaharris.com/commit for registration information. Early voting begins on October 17th, just 30 days from now. Don't forget to bring your photo ID. You can also register to vote in person when you early vote on October 17th. The path to the White House runs right here through North Carolina. We just have to fight for it, because when we fight, we win. Let's do this, y'all.
Get up in the evening, and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired, man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire, you can't start a fire without a spark. This guns for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer, radio's on and I'm moving round the place. I check my look in the mirror, wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face, man, I ain't getting nowhere. I'm just living in a dump like this. There's something happening somewhere, baby, I just know this. You can't start a fire, you can't start a fire without a spark. This guns for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark.
Please welcome to the stage, Stephen Walz!
Good afternoon, Asheville! My name is Stephen Wynn, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I am a proud first year at the University of North Carolina, Asheville, and this year, I am proud to be a first-time voter. At the University of Asheville, I'm focused on making sure that my fellow Bulldogs know how to vote and why it's so important. That's why I'm so excited today to welcome Governor Tim Walz to Asheville on National Voter Registration Day. Because the stakes of these elections are too high for young voters like me to sit this one out. If you are a student and you are not registered to vote in North Carolina, please go to kamalaharris.com/commit for online registration information. And early voting begins October 17th. Where you can register and vote on the same day. But do not forget to bring a valid photo ID. When I go to that voting booth, I will remember that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are the only ones on the ballot to protect our rights and to push a new way forward while Donald Trump, thank you, while Donald Trump tries to pull us backwards. I will remember that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are fighting for us, while Donald Trump only looks after himself. I know that they will be leaders for all Americans and work so that we have the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. I know that they will trust women to make the decisions for their own bodies and their own future. I know that the Vice President and Governor Walz will lead the compassion to help ease costs, to help relieve student loan debt, and to help Americans thrive. The same cannot be said about Donald Trump and his MAGA allies here in North Carolina, like Mark Robinson. Donald Trump and Mark Robinson have made it clear that they want to rip away our fundamental freedoms, that they think they know better than a woman, and that they will rise our cost of living while cutting taxes for the ultra-wealthy. Donald Trump wants to take us back. But here's the thing, voters. Here's the thing. Young voters know North Carolina is not going back. Say it with me. We are not going back. We are not going back. Thank you. Young people like me are looking for leaders who will take us forwards, not backwards. And by electing Vice President Harris and Governor Walz to lead us is the best thing we can do to protect our rights, secure our democracy, and ensure every folk has the opportunity not just to get by, but ahead. We know that the path to the White House goes straight through North Carolina, and we are up to that challenge. We can meet the moment by making sure we know how to vote, where to vote, and what we need to vote. I'm ready to vote, and I know you are too. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest honor to welcome our guest and the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Tim Walz.
Okay, Asheville, you win. You win. My team just said this is the best rally crowd we have seen, and I think they're absolutely right. Wow. Can we give up one more hand for Stephen? Our future is bright. Two special days today. It's Constitution Day and National Voter Registration Day. Two things we could probably teach Donald Trump a little more about. So, look, I have to tell you, it's great to be back down here, and I say this on behalf of all Americans. The incredible leadership that comes out of this state, and I just want to say this as a point of personal privilege. Thank you on behalf of the rest of the country for giving us the treasure that's Governor Roy Cooper. When you meet governors, it's reflective of the people. And when you meet Roy Cooper, you can't find a kinder, more visionary, more thoughtful, just more compassionate person. It reflects on the great state of North Carolina. That's why it's going to be really hard to find somebody, but I'll be danged if North Carolina didn't. We need to elect Josh Stein as your next governor. To all the local leaders and the folks I've known down here, but I just want to say to all of you, on behalf of the Vice President and myself personally, as an American, to see you folks out here and to see what you've done. Look, you could be anywhere. You could certainly be out of the rain if you wanted to. We know you're smart enough to get out of it, but you've chosen not to. But you came here, you've got busy lives, you've got kids coming out of school, you got things to do, it's a Tuesday, but you came here for the very simple, beautiful reason you love this country. It's also pretty clear North Carolina is certainly not going to let rain stop us from making Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. The vice president told me, she said, gee, I got to tell you, Tim, a couple people showed up in Charlotte and Greensboro last week. Just to let all of you know, the rest of the country was looking at those crowds and looking at the enthusiasm in awe of what you were delivering. So this has been happening all across the country, and Donald Trump, of course, responded like any normal, sane adult would and said, no one's there, it's AI. That's what he would say about all of you, but I always remind them, you know what won't be AI? Your ballots won't be AI. And I got to say, too, to the vice president and the crowds, that it is contagious. You can feel it. That we now believe what we all knew, that the precious democracy we have and that politics and campaigns can be focused on the hard work ahead of us, but they can be done with what Kamala Harris does every single day. Done with joy, done with happiness. Remember when they thought it was a dig because she laughs? Well, it's really great to have a president who laughs with people, not at people, and that's what we're going to get. So that's because Kamala Harris has spent her whole life fighting on the side of the American people. You know her story. Took on the predators, took on the fraudsters, took on the transnational gangs, took on the big corporate interests, and never hesitated to work with anybody on either side of the aisle if it was right for the American people. I bet she never thought the predators and the fraudsters and the greedy corporate interests would be all wrapped up into one person on a debate stage. But she saw it. But I got to tell you, I'm proud to be on this ticket. And the vice president says this a lot. Only in America can you find someone from a middle-class family in Oakland, California, and someone from rural Nebraska who have the ability to become the next president and vice president of the United States. So my guess is some of you know something about small towns. I grew up in a town of 400 people, 24 kids in my high school class, 12 were cousins. I never get away with someone not asking about prom dating on that one either, and not one of those kids became a venture capitalist. Imagine that. I don't know. But you know what you do learn growing up, and some of you grew up in small towns and big towns. It's about taking care of your neighbors. It's about looking out for somebody next to you. It's about understanding the common good. We have a saying in Minnesota, when we all do better, we all do better. And I feel blessed. I grew up in a community and with parents who understood this. My dad was a Korean War veteran, so 2 days after my 17th birthday, he took me down, raised my hands, and I signed up for the Army National Guard. I'm proud of that. I wound up doing 24 years in this nation's uniform. And nothing I'll do compare to the honor of doing that work. But I'll also tell you, there's a lot of ways to serve this country, and I had the privilege of serving it as a public school teacher for a couple decades. Coached some football, which was good. And my pro tip of the day is don't ever close the yearbook. We won the state championship, and I talk about it to this day. So there you go. I never thought about running for office. But I learned something from those kids. They were seeing in me what I was trying to teach them. Common good, lift folks up, think about someone else. And so my neighbors talked me into running for Congress in a district that they did not tell me had had one Democrat since 1892. Well, they gave me the privilege of serving them for 12 years in Congress. And I was consistently ranked as one of the most bipartisan members of that body because I worked on Veterans Affairs. I worked in the Ag Committee. I worked on transportation. Things about making rural economies in our states work. And I learned something really important, that you can compromise without compromising your values. And I know that the Vice President learned those things, so it's good that come November, with your help, after she's elected president and I am elected the vice president, we'll take those values to the White House. Now look, we don't expect everybody to see the world the same way. And it's pretty clear our opponents see the world very differently. We all saw what happened when Donald Trump was in power. The very first thing, don't let him forget this, because, you know, they try and rewrite history every day. They try and, alternate facts, new this, whatever. But be very clear. First thing he did, signed an executive order and talked about this, was to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which protected those of us with pre-existing conditions, let our children stay on our health care till they were 26. And something, thank God for you and Roy Cooper, expanding Medicare and Medicaid coverage across the state. But I will say this, on the second one, this is the one thing he kept his word on, and he actually followed through with it. He said to his rich buddies, well, you're rich as hell, and I'm gonna give you a tax cut. He did. He did give a tax cut to the wealthiest amongst us. All the while creating the largest debt of any president in history. And then, as our Republican friends are so apt to do, they tell you government doesn't work, then they get elected and prove it. We know that shell game. And the third thing he did, and he brags about this often, he forgets about this too. He rammed through 3 judges who made sure that women are no longer responsible for their own health care choices. And I don't know, he found enough energy to do this. He did all that before he tried to violently overthrow our election and deny a free and fair election. We need to be very clear about how we talk about that, because he lost the election, and there's no doubt about that. There's no need to have fair and balanced news coverage on that, because there is no fair and balanced. He lost the election fair and square. And look, my high school students know this, and my players knew this. You play hard, the other team plays hard, and after the game, if you lose, you'll walk across and shake hands and congratulate the other team. That's the way it works. In politics, you take it another step forward. You walk across and congratulate the winner, and then you pledge to do all you can to help them succeed, because that's good for America. Now, I did teach for a while. I think I'm a pretty good teacher, and I would always give my students extra chances to learn. Sometimes you don't learn the lesson the first time. So Donald Trump did not learn the lesson the first time, but the good news is he's going to learn the lesson in November when he gets to do it. But every once in a while, these guys do surprise me. This last weekend, Donald Trump's running mate, Senator Vance, did a really remarkable thing. He got called out by a fair and free press that are a part of our democracy and fundamental to the freedoms of this country. He got called out by that press about telling vicious, hurtful lies about immigrants. But he did something. He did something. He told the truth. They asked him if maybe it was an accident or he didn't mean it. No, he said, I admit it. I'm willing to create stories to spread fear to drum up support for us. Now, the only thing amongst this group is no kidding, we've been seeing that for years. Yeah, but at least they admitted it. At least they admitted it. So you got to ask, what other things are they making up stories about? I think you know. I think you know. The reason you do that is because if you told what you really stood for, no one would vote for you. And that includes the folks who think that, because you know you have your neighbors who are out there. Hell, we have them in our families, don't we know? So, but that's what happens. And I don't really like Donald Trump, but I like what he stands for. Oh, really? Suppressing women's reproductive rights, is that the one you want? Or is it cutting taxes for billionaires while you get screwed in the middle class? Is that the one you like? Or is it ignoring real problems, like our children being shot dead in schools? Is it those things or whatever? So I think for all of us, the truth here, you know who Donald Trump is. You know the pain that he caused. He killed thousands of manufacturing jobs across this state. It doesn't matter how many times he tries to rewrite history, that's a fact and you know it. And then he told us that we needed to not have overtime protections for 280,000 North Carolinians. That's $45 million that didn't go into your pockets, but went into the tax cuts for his wealthy buddies. But here's the thing. I think it's important to know where we came from for where it's at. But I know that people are here, and I know that these young people are excited. Look, these guys run on fear. And I know, I supervised the high school lunchroom for about 20 years. It made me an eternal optimist, have to be, but it also taught me fear is an incredible short-term motivator. It doesn't change behaviors. These guys focus on fear of the unknown. Blame the brown man, blame somebody else. That's what they do. It's important to know who they are, but what really inspires people is policies and a vision like Kamala Harris is bringing that's about the future. It's about the future. It's about what we can do together. It's about telling you can do. And she's got the record to prove it. Vice President Harris served in an administration that created 500,000 jobs here in North Carolina in partnership with rural people. Manufacturing jobs coming back home. And something I gotta tell you, I served in Congress and then as governor. Every damn week, Donald Trump talked about Infrastructure Week. Oh, we're going to do Infrastructure Week. And then, of course, the dysfunction of the Congress did nothing. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did something. They passed the largest infrastructure act in American history. And that's real jobs and real work. $10 billion to North Carolina to remove lead pipes from all your homes and your businesses. The Alligator River Bridge, replace it. And then bringing what your governor was a leader in and your legislature pushing on, making sure that high-speed broadband is in every corner of the state. Every corner of the state. And it's about a vision, and it's about where that is. But I got to tell you, it's about them trying to tell Americans to not trust their own eyes, too. So we're not going to miss. We got the opportunity last week. Look, it's crazy to me. There are 330 million people in this country, and there are two people, one of whom is going to be president of the United States. And they were both on that stage last week, and one of them commanded the stage with presence, poise, vision. And the other one was a nearly 80-year-old man shouting at clouds, is what it amounted to. So America saw clearly there's only one person that is going to be, and with your help, will be the next president of the United States. Now, people told me, my God, she did well. She's tough, she's tested, she's ready. And then they would sometimes couldn't help themselves, and they would say, oh, it really surprised me. And I would say, oh. It surprised you that this incredibly talented woman who was a county attorney, an attorney general of the largest state in the country, a United States senator, vice president of the United States, why would you be surprised that she would be able to do that? But I think all of us know Kamala Harris isn't talking about the historic nature of this. She just puts her nose down and does the work. She stays, as we say in the Army, she stays in her lane every single day. And she does. But for us to have her back and to recognize what it means here, look, there are so many people here. There are so many of you who have worked at this for decades to do this that have continued to crack that glass ceiling. Well, cracks in the glass ceiling aren't enough. We need to make sure that that glass ceiling is shattered and Kamala Harris steps through. Donald Trump that night had the entire 90 minutes to tell us what he would do to make life a little better for average Americans like us. He didn't do a damn thing. Now, I will say this. Again, the teacher in me always wants to find progress. And you know the kid. You got here today, Gary. I'm so happy. You know that one? Donald got on that stage, and after 9 long years dealing with a health care plan, he presented us a concept of a plan. Seriously, none of my students ever gave that weak of an answer when you got there. So, the issues that are important to you, again, we understand, and politics can be fun, but it is very clear. Donald Trump has no plan for you. He has no plan to improve your life. Kamala Harris, a very different story. Growing up in that middle-class family, she's laid out a plan for an opportunity economy. And I think it's important to tell our neighbors this. Get the phones out, you're hitting record, send them a video. Oh, it's beautiful. Some of you say, I know why this guy was a good teacher. He identifies with the attention deficit people in this. So, no, it's about being in the moment. You are at a political rally with your neighbors. So tell your friends if they're wondering why they think they should vote for her now that they said, my God, she did better than I thought she was going to do. My goodness, she's super accomplished. Let's go down a list a little bit of what she's going to do. Let's run them off here. If you're hoping to buy a home someday, which all of us want to, she's going to help make it more affordable. If you're getting squeezed on grocery prices, prescription drugs, she's going to make sure we take on the price gougers and Big Pharma. And if you have an idea, you want to start your own small business, she's going to make sure that the tax credit on that, we cut through the red tape, give you help on the front end to let you achieve the dream that you want to. And this is one that's personal to me because we know who built the middle class. If you're a union member or want to be a union member, she'll sign the PRO Act and make it easier to form a union and collectively bargain. And the biggest thing is you saw it. You saw it in Chicago. You saw us talk about it. Freedom. It's not just a song that she comes out on the stage, although it's really cool when she does come out on stage to freedom. But we talk about freedom, and that freedom is fundamental. The freedom to live your life the way you choose, not with government interference. And I say this as someone who knows this, and this is a part of the state, you know this too. Republicans used to talk the same way about freedoms. They used to really believe it. Not these guys. Now when they talk about it, government should be free. Invade your doctor's office. Make decisions for you. Invade your bedroom. Tell you who you should love. Invade your school library. And now, Trump is trying to create this new government entity that will monitor all pregnancies to enforce their abortion bans. And look, these are stories that we hear, and I got to tell you before I go on this, I balk at even mentioning his name, but I was the former chair of the Democratic Governors Association, and winning the governorship in North Carolina is our #1 priority. Because you have Josh Stein, because he's following Roy Cooper, but let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. If you search those 330 million people, you would not find a worse candidate than Mark Robinson. He says it's not your body anymore once you're pregnant. So for your neighbors, friends, daughters, everyone else, you think about this. You really want to have a federal agency run by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance giving a Mark Robinson the authority to monitor your pregnancy? That stuff is so dystopian that Orwell wouldn't even write about it. Trust me. Trust me. But here's the thing. People live their lives differently, and we respect that. You worship the way you want to, love who you want to, take the job you want to. Do that. I might not choose the same thing you do, but the thing we say in Minnesota is, you know what makes things work really well? Mind your own damn business. And this is why I know that's not just Minnesota, that's everywhere. We started the morning with rallies down in Macon, Georgia, where they're fired up and ready to go. We stopped by the famous H&H Cafe down there, and some of you know it. Midnight Rider, that's my go-to for you on that. Buy that one. But on the wall, they had a sign that they had written up there, and it says, mind your own damn biscuits on here. They said that's a nice way of saying what you said, Governor, is what we're going to say. So look, this stuff is personal for all of us. And that's why we can't this is not theoretical. You're not rooting for your team. You're not like, oh, I'm on the Red Hat team, and damn it, I'm going to stick with them no matter how bad they are. Ditch them. Ditch them if they start doing bad. Go on. Because it's personal. And I know none of us want to have to talk about this. There was a story that came out yesterday. Amber Thurman, a woman from Georgia, who had to come up here and try and get reproductive care because her pregnancy was going bad. She ended up, because of that, and going back to Georgia, of falling into sepsis and dying. A 28-year-old mother, because of Donald Trump's horrific policies. These things are personal. For my family and we weren't able to have children. My wife and I talked about this. And those of you out here have gone through this, or if you know somebody, the hell of infertility. It breaks your soul. You're waiting for the phone calls. They don't come in. It strains your relationship, and all you want is to have that child. These guys talk all the time about families. Today they had a damn vote to correct IVF, and they killed it. They killed it. Because this is the most precious thing to us. So you better bet, when our daughter was finally born, we named her Hope for that reason. And I said this, she and her brother are a whole world to us. That's what this election's about. We don't want to have to go talk about this private stuff. Stay out of our business. But we have to, because what I know is, if these guys win and get their way, they made it clear today. They're not just going after abortion. They're going after fertility treatments. They're going after contraception. They're going to create this federal agency to track you. The idea that some family would go through that horror with not having access to have beautiful children like we have, don't ever come to me and tell me you're pro-family values, because that's a damn lie. That's a lie. Oh, and by the way, you know what we do after our children are born? We care for them. We provide them meals. We provide them health care. So look, when Vice President Harris talks about freedom, we mean people, not politicians, making those health care choices. Be very clear. We mean education as a ticket to the middle class, not crippling student loan debt. And we mean that our seniors should retire with dignity by strengthening Social Security and Medicare. I always say this, these folks who don't want government, who don't want anything or whatever, these are always the people, you know, oh, I don't want my property taxes to go up to pay for the local swimming pool that all of our kids swim in. That's because they got one in their backyard. They don't care. And they don't care if Social Security goes insolvent or they raise the age, because they're not depending on it like my 89-year-old mom to pay the heating bill and buy groceries. So look, this issue of freedom, freedom to live the life you want to, freedom to make your own choices, freedom to make sure that government stays the hell out of your bedroom and your choices on that. All of those things from healthcare on down the line, to make those own choices for yourself. That's what this is about. And I will not stand back and watch this. Coming from Georgia, which we saw last week, and we see it every week, hundreds of times in this country. When we talk about freedom, we mean freedom to send our little ones to school without being shot dead in their classroom. I come from that culture. I'm a veteran, I'm a hunter, I'm a gun owner. Oh, by the way, we learned at the debate, so is the vice president, by the way. I say that because we support the Second Amendment, but you don't get to hide behind that when our first responsibility is to the safety of our children. And having been someone who sat in my office with dozens of parents of the Sandy Hook children, as they looked at the picture of my son on my desk and said, our children would have been your son's age. By the way, the Sandy Hook children would have been seniors this year in high school. How morally bankrupt do you have to be when Donald Trump says things that when children die in mass shootings, we just need to get over it? And then, and just last week, J.D. Vance told us it was just a fact of life. These are the people who are spending all their time trying to ban books from our schools, but they can't spend a minute banning assault weapons from our schools. And let's be clear, they don't trust the American people. They don't trust you to make your own health care decisions. They certainly don't trust when they want everybody to vote because they want to suppress the vote because they know how you vote. But they don't trust us to solve the toughest problems. Why is it every other nation in the world can figure this out and not get their children shot and we can't? Vice President Harris is right and she'll do something about it. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. You heard it here and each of you know it. We can't afford 4 more years of this guy. We've seen Project 2025. I'll thank them for this. At least they wrote out what they're going to do this time for us. And they said, oh, we don't know anything about it. Oh, really? JD, you wrote the foreword to the architect of it, you know. Might have done that. But look, I know it's true. If somebody takes the time to create a playbook, the football coach in me knows they're going to run the plays. They're going to run the plays. So they told us what they're going to do. And this is the one that's really something. Mr. Vance also said this, and this is a direct quote. I'll get this right. We need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power. We need to be really ruthless with the exercise of power. Look, there's no excuse for us not to say they didn't tell us. They told us. But Kamala Harris isn't running to be in power. She's running to govern in the name of the American people. So when they're talking about being ruthless, be very clear, and I trust them on this. This is one that I do. I don't trust him on much, but I trust him on this. Donald Trump has proposed cutting taxes for billionaires because he told them, you're rich as hell, I'm gonna give you a tax cut. He will do it, adding $5 trillion more to our debt. At the same time, he's proposing, now get this, he's proposing these massive tariffs that only Donald Trump knows about, apparently. Every economist in the world says that will end up being the equivalent of a national sales tax, costing every single family $4,000 a year. Now, they also badmouth, and for those of you in here, those who are public employees, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do. Those are our police, our firefighters, our teachers, you know the ones. They care for our seniors, they care for our children, they're epidemiologists, they care for our natural resources. Donald Trump's plan is, he doesn't like those folks because they're not political. They're above it. He wants to gut all of those folks and put in only his people. Bad-mouthing the folks, I was out in Nevada last week where Forest Service folks are fighting forest fires. Those are folks that put their lives on the line for us, something bigger than them. And the reason that this is such an alien concept for Donald Trump is he doesn't understand service to anyone but himself. To no one but himself. So throwing the things out there, they will ban abortion across this country. Now, he said, no, I'll do IVF. Oh, I'll make it, I'll make it free. He was like this, baby for you, baby, and this guy's gonna come to your house pretty soon and promise to give you birthday parties, is when he's in right now. We're in that stage of the campaign because he sure the hell can't tell you he's gonna cut taxes for billionaires. He sure the hell can't tell you that he's gonna prevent IVF treatments. He can't do any of that. But he is so enamored. He had an opportunity on that debate stage when they asked him to someone he admired, someone globally. Who do you admire that's out there, whatever. There's a lot of people he could have chosen. I think a group he could have chosen were brave young Ukrainians who are on the front lines resisting. But everyone here knows why he wasn't going to do that. Because he couldn't answer the question if he wanted Ukraine to win that war. You got your answer when he couldn't say that. Because this guy admires Putin. He admires Kim Jong-un. He admires Xi Jinping. And you know when he was asked who he could pick out? Viktor damn Orban. Viktor Orban. That's the guy you get. And look, here's the thing. He thinks those guys like him. Can you imagine if those four get together when they talk about what a weak and what a sucker Trump is to be played? You know they do it. Oh my God, he's so easy. Just tell him his hair looks nice and he'll give you whatever you want. Just tell him he's handsome and he'll pull out of NATO. That's how it works. What was really great though is you saw how quickly Kamala Harris baited him. Because he would be furious to know this crowd in Asheville is far bigger than he ever got. So look, we know what's at stake. They outsmart him, we know what we get. But bringing it back to the focus of who we are and what Kamala Harris talks about being a president for all Americans, I talk about this often. Two things she says that I just love to hear her say it. It's so simple, but it's beautiful. She says the mark of leadership isn't who you can tear down, it's who you can lift up. Simple. Simple. And then we were getting off a bus at a rally, and it was just her and her husband, Doug, and my wife, Gwen, and I, and this was a few weeks ago, and I'm on the bus, and I'm still like, oh, man, this is so cool to be on the bus with the vice president. And we're going to get out at a rally, and there's a whole bunch of our supporters, and there's folks that aren't our supporters. And I said, it's always nice because you can tell them because they have the same hat on, and you just see them, and they're there. But she turned around and looked at me, and she said, Tim, we work just as hard for the people and their families on this side of the street as we do on this side of the street. And that's what all of us believe. Because that's who America is. And I saw it this summer. I had the privilege of a lifetime to be in France on the 80th commemoration of the D-Day landing. And I was riding on a bus with several of our Medal of Honor awardees who had earned the Medal of Honor for bravery. And we were going down these dusty little trails to get to the beaches of Normandy, and the houses were decorated with little French flags, with little British flags, with little Canadian flags, with little American flags. To the cemeteries where the sons and daughters of the free nations of the world came together on those beaches to protect democracy against the spread of Nazism and totalitarianism. And while our young warriors died on that foreign beach, they died for the common humanity, the common decency, the common human rights that we all aspire to. Donald Trump, when Vladimir Putin invades a democratic country, he says, I don't care, do whatever the hell you want. Donald Trump tells Putin that. So when you hear Vice President Harris say, our allies are terrified of him coming back into power again. But the good news is, that's not going to happen. So we are not going back. I said, I love all the things. My wife talks about turning a page. She's an English teacher and all of that. I just like this one. This damn TV show of his has been on too long. Let's just cancel it in November. Let's just cancel it. But here's what we get with Kamala Harris. And here's what we get with all of you out here. And people like Stephen and others who are inspired. We've got a new generation of American leadership that's inspiring the rest of the world. So you saw it. Kamala Harris can take care of herself. Our job is to do the blocking and tackling and cover her back. That's what our job is. So this is where I never get too far from being Coach Walz on these things. This is where I'm going to be. Think about it. If everybody here tonight gets just one more person to do a phone bank or a door knock, just one, talk to somebody, one more conversation, have that conversation. I'm trying with all of my relatives, I'm trying with everybody else to make the case that we're in this together. We can chart a new way forward. Hell, I get it. You're out here, you're standing in the rain, you're giving your money, you're knocking on doors, you're doing all that. But my God, what a privilege to fight for the democracy. What a privilege. "49 days to go. We're finally going to have early voting starting here in North Carolina on the 17th. And we get the opportunity to make a difference, not just for 4 years, but for 40 years. Not just here, but across the world. That's what we get to do. So we're in the fight. All gas, no brakes. Sleep when you're dead. And as the next president of the United States says, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thank you.
I cannot forget from where it is that I come from. I cannot Got nothing against the big town. Still hayseed enough to say, look who's in the big town. But my bed is in a small town. Oh, that's good enough for me. Well, I was born in a small town, and I can breathe in a small town. Gonna die in a small town. Oh, that's probably where they bury me.
People dream high in the quiet of the night. You know that I caught it. Bad, bad boy, shiny toy with a price. You know that I bought it. Killing me slow, out the window. I'm always waiting for you to be waiting below. Devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. What doesn't kill me makes me want you more. And it's blue, the shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, it's cruel summer. It's cool, that's what I tell 'em, no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but it's cruel summer with you. Hang your head low in the glow of the vending machine. I'm not dying. We say that we'll just screw it up in these trying times. We're not trying. So cut the headlights. Summer's a knife. I'm always waiting for you just to cut to the moon. Devils roll the dice. Angels roll their eyes. And if I bleed, you'll be the last to know. Oh, it's blue. The shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, it's cruel summer. It's cool, that's what I tell 'em, no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but it's cruel summer with you. I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cried like a baby coming home from the bar. Said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. I don't wanna keep secrets just to keep you. And I snuck in through the garden gate every night that summer just to seal my fate. And I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard? He looks up, grinning like a devil. It's blue, the shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, it's cruel summer. It's cool, that's what I tell 'em, no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but it's cruel summer. I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cried like a baby coming home from the bar. Said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. I don't wanna keep secrets just to keep you. And I snuck in through the garden gate every night that summer just to seal my fate. And I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard?
Crazy, Coco Flola 1980s. Come lit, still I drop lazy. None of that maybe. Energy, energy, energy.
Just 5, voting on 45, don't get out of line. Yeah. Ooh, 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 pick a side. Only double lines we cross is dollar signs. Yeah. Ooh, 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 hold up, wait. I hear you just got paid, make it rain. Energy. She more Cancun, he more Central Pay. Big wave in the room, the crowd gon' move. Look around, everybody on mute. Look around, it's me and my crew. Big energy.
He was on stop mode, got froze front page Vogue, no pause, chat too much, bro, clip on load. That's that Kodak energy, 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 energy.
camera go pop, 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 pop. Keep 'em waiting like that, 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 that. Ooh la la la. That's the way them boys sound when I walk through the block, block, block. Then I Uzi that doozy. Shot, shot, shot. Chillin', minding our business, popping our paint and champagne through the ceiling, sipping it up, flicking it up. All this good energy got you all in your feelings, feelings. I'm crazy. I'm swearing. I'm daring. Your man staring. I just entered the country with derringers, cause them Karens just turned into terrorists.
You was on stop mode, got froze from page Vogue, no post, chat too much, boy, click on load. That's that Kodak energy, 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 energy. Yeah, yeah. I'm about to explode, take off the slow, then I'm about to make it go. Release your wiggle. Release your wiggle. Release your
You won't break my soul. 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 I'm telling everybody, 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 everybody. Now I just fell in love, and I just quit my job. I'm gonna find no drive. Damn, they work me so damn hard. Work by 9, then off past 5. And they work my nerves, that's why I cannot sleep at night. Motivation. I'm looking for a new foundation, yeah. And I'm on that new vibration. I'm building my own foundation, yeah. Hold up, oh baby, baby, you won't break my soul. 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 I'm telling everybody, nah, nah, everybody, everybody, everybody.
Release your anger, release your mind, release your job, release the time, release your trade, release the stress, release the love, forget the rest.
I'ma let down my hair, cause I lost my mind. B is back and I'm sleeping real good at night. The queens in the front and the doms in the back. Ain't taking no flicks, but the whole click snap. There's a whole lot of people in the house trying to smoke with the yak in your mouth. And we back outside. You said you outside, but you ain't that outside. Worldwide hoodie with the mask outside. In case you forgot how we act outside. Motivation. I found me a new foundation, yeah. Taking my new salvation. And I'ma build my own foundation, yeah. Oh, baby, baby, you won't break my soul. 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 And I'm telling everybody, 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 yeah. You don't seek it, you won't see it, that we all know. Can't break my soul. You don't think it, you won't be it, that love ain't yours. Can't break my soul. Trying to fake it never makes it, that we all know. Can't break my soul. Have the stress and I'll take less, I'll justify love. We go round in circles, searching for love. We go up and down, lost and found, searching for love. Looking for something that lives inside me. For something that lives inside me. You won't break my soul. 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 Telling everybody, telling everybody, everybody, everybody. You won't always in the lead. Who you wanna be? I'm who they wanna be. B-E-A-U-T-Y-E. Never seen so much rage from a queen. Rage from a queen. Queen so strong, thought she was a machine. Girl of your dreams, Sinclair regime. Turn to the max, can't forget Maxine. Refer to me as a goddess. I'm tired of being modest. 100 degrees the hottest. If we're being honest.